Hello, I'm David Lyle. I teach Systema in Tucson, Arizona. We train out in the park because it's a little bit, it's the natural environment. That's where something's probably going to happen, is outside as opposed to being in a dojo. Today we're going to discuss self-defense with a cane. I prefer a cane that is hickory or oak. I've tried the lighter ones, the ash, that sort of thing. I've had them to break on me. The only modification I make on my cane is I make a point on the end of it, which I can use to put pressure behind somebody's neck should I get there and pull them down. I look at self-defense like a pyramid. Down at the bottom of the pyramid are things that we're going to run into. We're going to have your panhandlers, or you're someone that might think that you're vulnerable and they can mug you while you're walking across the parking lot to go to Home Depot or Kmart or wherever you go. And so you're just being observant and looking around in those situations. We're not higher up the pyramid. You have your people who are bank robbers. They're armed and they have a gun. Don't fight with them. You're not going to fight against a gun with a cane. Further up the pyramid, you have your gang warfare, your mass shootings, things that you have no control over. On up the pyramid, you have your Delta Force fighting the Taliban, mano a mano. At the top, you owe money to a Mexican drug cartel. You're dead. Nothing. I don't care how much self-defense you have. If you owe money and they put a hit out on you, you are dead. I read about one that took them 25 years to get the guy, but they finally collected on it. So what we're doing here is showing you things that would work down at the bottom of the pyramid, and there's no fancy moves here of putting this around your back of your neck and grabbing the guy's neck and twisting him, throwing him to the ground and stomping him, because we don't have time for that in the street. The moves that I'm going to teach today are things that people my age, 84, with very little strength in their body can use. You don't have to have arms the size of some people's legs in order to do them. Very, very simple moves to do. If you're getting the cane up to strike someone, you're going to have to get it up in the air. Now, people with legs, with arms the size of my legs, they can rip the cane up and get it up real quick. I've got arthritis in my wrist. Sometimes I have trouble holding a coffee pot. I've got arthritis in my shoulders. And so for older people, some of these techniques will not work that you see other people doing it. Two ways that I get the cane up is one, to flip it off my leg, gets it up into where I can hit the groin, or get it up into the throat area and hit them in the throat. The other way, the one I prefer, is to rotate the cane around its center of gravity, which the center of gravity is here, and just up. It's an up and down motion, up and down motion. Rotating around the center of gravity, it takes no strength whatsoever. So I am pointing towards someone's throat. I can gouge toward the throat. If there's a stick there, if there's a groin there, as it's coming up, it's going to play havoc with the groin. So up, it's up. And then I grab it with what I call a pool cue motion. This hand goes back. This one swings around, and I can strike in the temple. I can strike in the knees. I can pull it back, strike in the knees, strike in the head. I can alternate real quick like that. And that's hard for someone to defend. If you're hitting strictly from one side, it's difficult. After a while, they get the idea that you're hitting from that side, and so they can dodge it. But if you're going from one side to the other in rapid succession, it's a little bit harder to defend against. And again, you're hitting the bony areas, you're hitting the arms, the elbows, the back of the hands, the head, the side of the neck, temple if you can get it, and the knees. So go for bony areas. Now, part of self-defense is to looking like you don't need self-defense. So if you can convince someone, and I've done it a couple of times, where I know I'm being looked at, someone is casing me, they're sizing me up, and I look stronger than I really feel. So if you can do a few things that will make them think that you might know a little bit more about it than you do, than you think you do. For instance, swinging it around, comes up under your shoulder, you kind of look at them like, I'm ready, even though you may not feel that way. And then you can bring it back and swing it. Another way would be to bring it up on your shoulder. It's up on my shoulder. Now if I just pull down on it, it's going to accelerate the cane quite a bit. So it's going to be going down. But if I, same time that I'm pulling down, I flip up my shoulder, I'm accelerating the cane more, so I'm getting a stronger hit out of it. So if I go 1, 2, 3, 4, okay? Just the other way. If I'm in this position, looks like a ready position. Well, how do I get the cane out? I use this hand, this arm, to flip the cane around, and I can clear a path 360 degrees around me. Of course, you can always have the cane flipping around like this. But remember, the main thing you're going to be, these are just displays, like a skunk wagging its tail, that hey, you don't want to mess with me, or a porcupine raising its quills up, you don't want to mess with me. And sometimes you won't get messed with. You can do these in any combination. Do a figure 8. That's a good body one. Change hands. And both these you can come in with the change and go back to the striking position or the pool cue position, either hand. If someone's coming behind you, you can, if they have many people, there's a lot of, 2 people could be planning an attack, and if you have 2 people, you can use this to go different ways. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1. The hand that's in the front, the furthest out, comes to your stomach. This one goes out and slides along. It's in front now, comes to your stomach, this pulls back, and now and it can hit. So 1, 2, 1, 2. You flip up with your leg. If you choose to use that one, be sure the handle is pointed away from your body so that it won't get tangled up in your leg when you bring it up. When you grab it, the pool cue is probably going to be your most effective thing for fending someone off, because you can get several hits with the pool cue method, and it's hitting with a small area of the cane, and it's hard to see when it's coming toward the face. The other things here you can see, and they're good to hit with, but your pool cue method is probably going to be the best one for going forwards and backwards. If you have multiple attackers, you can go in and hit this way and this way. Now some people, when they first bring the cane up, they get it on the bottom. That's not wrong. It just doesn't have as many advantages as by grabbing it on top, because you can hit okay this way, but when you try to come over here, you can't hit as well on the on the right-hand side. Also, if you're doing the pool cue type, this way is fine. This way here, your hand is messed up for hitting in this direction. So this is why I like to have the hand on the top. Now, should you end up this way with the hand on the bottom and you're doing striking methods, hold your hand, this hand stationary, and use this bottom hand to move around and to do the strikes with. They're not as powerful a strike, but you can get a lot of strikes in by hitting someone this way and getting on both sides of the head or the body. My assistant's going to be Noah Crabtree. Noah is ranked in many martial and other martial arts disciplines, but this is the first time that he and I have worked together. And I'm going to have him to hold this stick out so you can show the power that you can get by flipping the stick up, by flipping your cane up. Now this is a 2.5 pound weight, and this is a groin hit. Now that would probably hurt somebody. The other way is holding the stick straight up. I'm doing my to the head, the knees, towards the elbows, the back of the hands, anywhere there's a soft tissue. The neck is really good because you have here a blood vessel. You hit that hard enough, it may take him out. At the least, it's going to make him woozy for a couple of seconds while you leave. The other thing I like is the back of it, where I can hook him. If it's back here, he is going to come with me. I'm down, I've got the cane, I can hit him in the face with it, and then step back and hit him in the back of the head. So the cane is a great self-defense weapon. It's not fancy. We're not going to be doing any of this fancy stuff where he's got me around the neck and I do this and I bring the cane around. You're not going to have time for that in the street. Yes, this works in the dojo every time, but both sides know the script. And so I just want something to quick and dirty to defend myself and leave. If you like what you're seeing, I'm not sponsored by anybody, but you can send me a couple of bucks at the address at the end of the video if you like it. If you find a couple of techniques you like and you use them in your video, I'd appreciate you making it 10.